Today marks the beginning of a series of player reviews here on Locked On Boston Bruins. We're going to look at Patrice Bergeron's 2022-23 season and also bring you the latest on the black and gold with a couple of news items. So let's get into it, shall we?
You're Locked On Bruins, your daily podcast on the Boston Bruins. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, Bruins fans, and welcome back to the Locked On Boston Bruins podcast. I'm your host, Ian McLaren, and this is a daily show where we discuss all things Spoked Beat. Thank you so much for making Locked On Bruins part of your day every day. We are free and available wherever you get podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. On today's episode, we're going to look back at Patrice Bergeron's season and also bring you the latest on the Jack Adams Trophy, Bruins signing a player to an entry-level contract. First, a quick reminder that you can find the podcast on Twitter and Instagram at Locked NHL Bruins, and you can find me, my dad jokes, and hockey tweets at Ian C. McLaren. Before we dive into Patrice Bergeron, let's look at a couple of the developments with regards to the Boston Bruins. First, Jim Montgomery has been named a finalist for the 2023 Jack Adams Award, which is given annually to the coach who contributed the most to his team's success, as voted on by the NHL Broadcasters Association. It's the first time Montgomery has been named a finalist for the award. It was his first season behind the bench in Boston, and the Bruins won the President's Trophy, finished the regular season with a record of 65-12-5, 135 points, setting new NHL records for single season points and wins. The Bruins ranked first in road wins, goals allowed per game, penalty kill, goal differential. And as a first-year coach with the Bruins, Montgomery led the team to become the fastest team in NHL history to reach 100 points and 50 wins. So an incredibly successful debut behind the bench for Jim Montgomery. Of course, this award doesn't take playoff performance into consideration, but Montgomery should be the favorite to win this award. The other guys in line to win are Lindy Ruff of the New Jersey Devils. Ruff started off rough in New Jersey this season. People were calling for him to be fired, like literally during the games. The fans were chanting, "Fire Lindy." He turned things around. And Dave Haxtell from Seattle. Very good case to be made for him, considering he had far from William Jennings Trophy winning goaltending and was still able to get his team into the playoffs. Again, playoffs don't count, but they did beat Colorado and are hanging tough with Dallas as well. So probably Montgomery's trophy to lose, but some good contenders in there as well. Also on Friday, it was announced that the Bruins had signed Matthew Poitras to a 3-year entry-level contract beginning next season with an annual cap hit of $870,000. Poitras is 19. He appeared in 63 games for the Guelph Storm this past season. 16 goals, 79 assists for 95 points. Ranked second in the OHL in assists, was tied for 5th in the league in scoring. Now, because he is 19, he will either play for the Bruins next season or most likely he'll be back here in Guelph to dominate the OHL, basically. He's going to have a fantastic season if he is back in junior. I got to watch him play several times this season. Incredibly impressed with his hockey IQ. very smart with and without the puck, very strong in the faceoff dot, just unbelievable playmaking skills. I'm not saying he's the next coming of David Krejci, but a very nice pick in the second round for Don Sweeney last year in 2022. One other thing to mention, of course, the Florida Panthers, who beat our Boston Bruins in the first round. They're up 3-0 on the Toronto Maple Leafs. And a lot of people are saying, does this make it easier for the Bruins knowing that they got beat by a very, very good team in the Florida Panthers, who are now taking full advantage of the Toronto Maple Leafs? Or do we say, if the Bruins had won, then look at what they could have done against Toronto? Well, it's hard to say. You never know what could have happened. The Bruins wouldn't necessarily be 3-0 up on the Toronto Maple Leafs. Could have a very different look. But the Maple Leafs, especially in Game 3, really seemed like they were, I don't want to say mailing it in, but all their old first-round habits coming back. Full credit to the Panthers. They took care of the Bruins, and they have carried that over into the second round and are now on the verge of advancing to the conference finals. Would we have rather had the Bruins in there? Of course. Would it have been painful to see Florida advance and then get wrecked by the Maple Leafs? Probably, because you could have seen that it was more of a fluke. The fact that they are tuning the Maple Leafs makes it a bit easier to swallow. Full credit to them. But, of course, we still wish it was the Bruins in there instead of the Panthers. All right, with all that out of the way, we will touch on Patrice Bergeron's season here in a moment. First, a quick word about today's first sponsor, which is Indeed, the hiring platform where you can attract, interview, and hire all in one place. Instead of spending hours on multiple job sites searching for candidates with the right skills, Indeed is a powerful hiring platform that can help you do it all. They streamline hiring with powerful tools that find you matched candidates. With Instant Match, over 80% of employers get quality candidates whose resume on Indeed matches their job descriptions the moment you sponsor a job. Now, start hiring now with a $75 sponsored job credit to upgrade your post at Indeed.com/lockedon. This offer is good for only a limited time, so jump on it today. A $75 credit at Indeed.com/lockedon. Terms and conditions apply, but if you need to hire, you need Indeed. Thank you so much again for making Locked On Boston Bruins part of your daily routine, free and available on your favorite podcast app. And tomorrow on the podcast, everyday listeners can expect a season in review for Brad Marchand. First, today we are touching on Patrice Bergeron, Boston's number one center, captain, heart of the team, and he is once again a Selke Trophy finalist for the best two-way forward in the NHL. He already has won 5 times. If he were to win one more, he will become the only 6-time winner in the history of the award. Patrice Bergeron has won it 5 times. He set the record last year after eclipsing Bob Gainey, who had won it 4 times. If he wins again, he'll extend it to 6. Perhaps an untouchable record, and they really do need to rename it the Patrice Bergeron Trophy. Bergeron appeared in 78 games for the Boston Bruins this season. He recorded, what were his final totals here? Let me pull this back up. His best game, I should mention off the top, 2 goals, 2 assists versus the Florida Panthers back in December. Total, he had 27 goals, 31 assists for 58 points in 78 games. He won over 1,000 faceoffs. His faceoff percentage was above his career average. He also had a 62% shot attempt differential, which was also above his career average. So at 37 years of age, he had an above average season for himself, already arguably the best two-way forward in the history of the NHL. Just another fantastic season for our captain, who, like a fine wine, just continues to get better with age. He is 37. He will turn 38 on July 24th. And it's just incredible that he continues to excel in all facets of the game at age 37. Like, how lucky are we that he is a Boston Bruin? And you look back, I saw an article in the Montreal Gazette over the weekend talking about opportunity missed for the Montreal Canadiens at the 2003 NHL draft, where they had 2 chances to draft the Quebec native. In the first round, they decided to go with Andre Kostitsyn. And then in the second round, they went with someone named Corey Urquhart, who never played in the NHL. Patrice Bergeron was selected 45th overall, directly after Konstantin Pushkarev and right before Dan Fritchie. Shea Weber, should be noted, was drafted 4 spots behind Patrice Bergeron. Bergeron, of course, class of that draft, he has 1,040 points, which is second only to Eric Stahl, who was drafted 2nd overall. But in about one season's one season's worth of fewer games, Ryan Getzlaf, Joe Pavelski, Corey Perry rounding out the top 5. Pavelski, of course, still alive in the playoffs with the Dallas Stars. They may be the team I'm rooting for so that he could get a Stanley Cup to his name. But unbelievable career for Patrice Bergeron. Now, what went wrong this season? Well, he got injured at the very worst possible time. We've talked a few times about how he played in Montreal in the season finale. There was that report, or I don't want to say rumor, but the fact that his dad could be sick and that he wanted to play in Montreal, seeing as he is from Quebec, and it could have been the last time he got to play in front of family. He has said several times that it was the plan for everybody to play in that Montreal game, so it wasn't necessarily a personal decision. It was a very regular-looking lineup, unlike the past 2 years where they went with very AHL-heavy lineups. Unfortunately, herniated a disc in his back as a result, and he was only able to play in 3 games against the Florida Panthers. He did score a goal in game 5, but then was held pointless in game 6 and 7. A -5 combined in those 2 games, if you care about that stat. Clearly not 100%, and it just defies logic that the Bruins would go 3-1 without him in the lineup, 0-3 with him back in the lineup. Otherwise, it was a very sparkling, typical Patrice Bergeron season. Again, very unfortunate that he got injured at the worst possible time, and don't fault him for playing in that game in Montreal, but in hindsight, they probably should have gone with a sparser lineup in terms of regulars in order to keep them fresh. You never know what's going to happen. Injuries can occur literally anytime you step on the ice. So again, hindsight is 2020 there, but obviously would have been better to have a fully optimized Patrice Bergeron for all 7 games against the Florida Panthers. Perhaps it doesn't even get that far if he isn't injured. Coming up, we're going to discuss whether or not Patrice Bergeron will be with the team next season. But first, a quick word about today's other sponsor, which is Built Bar. Built Bar is the best tasting protein bar on the market, and it is also good for you. I don't know how they do it, but Built Bars are healthy and taste amazing. They're covered in 100% real chocolate, and they come in unbelievable flavors like churro, peanut butter brownie, cookies, and cream. Not sure how they do it, but they taste like a candy bar while maintaining amazing macros. 130 calories, 4 grams of sugar, 17 grams of protein. And you don't need to wait to get a box in the mail either. For years, we've been talking about how ordering Built Bars at Built.com is quick and easy. Now you can get them at your local Walmart or Sam's Club while still getting specialty flavors at Built.com. Head to your nearest Walmart, grab a 4-box, or go to Sam's Club, grab a box of 13 Built Bars. Thank me later because they are so good and healthy for you. Thank you once again for making Locked On Bruins part of your everyday routine. Everydayers can expect a full review of Brad Marchand's season here on tomorrow's podcast, as well as all the latest on the Black and Gold. To wrap up Patrice Bergeron's review, the question is, will he be back next year? We all saw the hugs at the end of the season after they lost to the Florida Panthers. A very emotional one with Brad Marchand, longtime line mate, and one of his best friends. We did see that last year after Carolina when they lost in Game 7. So it's not necessarily the case that he is going to retire. It's definitely a strong possibility. And he's going to take some time to assess how he feels physically, mentally, talk it over with his family. His wife is expecting another child, so that could put a wrinkle in things. A newborn, you want to be there as much as possible. And for your other kids as well. 38 years old, certainly nearing the end if he has not hit it already. The Bruins, either way, will have to work him under the cap because he and David Krejci carry a $4.5 million bonus overage into next season. So whether or not he's playing, Patrice Bergeron will affect what the Boston Bruins can do in terms of contracts beginning next season. Hopefully he's back. Hopefully they can get something worked out. They'll just be kind of pushing that bonus thing another season as well. But obviously, if he is ready and willing to play at least one more season, then welcome back with open arms. The Bruins are celebrating their centennial in 2023-24. That might, just like the Winter Classic this past season was something he wanted to be a part of. Perhaps he wants to be a part of this historic season. What a way to cap his career. Announcer coming back for one more year, have a bit of a swan song, and hopefully the Bruins can redeem themselves from this shocking first-round playoff exit and make good. I talked last week about the President's Trophy plus 1 year where some recent teams have lost in the first round or lost in the second round after winning the President's Trophy and then come back to win the Stanley Cup. Happened with the Washington Capitals in 2018, the Tampa Bay Lightning, the Colorado Avalanche. Now the Florida Panthers are on quite a run here as well. So Not guaranteed, of course, but we'd love to see Patrice Bergeron back in black and gold. That's it for today's episode, my friends. I hope you all had a great weekend. Ours was full of kids basketball, a birthday party, getting the deck cleared off. Can't really see it behind me, but looking forward to sitting outside more. I haven't watched much hockey since the Bruins lost, but trying to read more, watch some good shows. It's just still a little raw and painful, but we press on here on Locked On Boston Bruins, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your favorite team every single day. And we'll be back tomorrow with a fresh episode talking about Brad Marchand's season in review.